Welcome back to the Trailkings podcast. Today is a new episode, and we're talking about RGB lighting kits. Stick around to the end, and we're going to give you our final thoughts on if they are worth buying for your machine or not. As always, please show your support by hitting the subscribe button and clicking the bell icon to turn on notifications. All right, RGB lighting kits. What are they, and are they worth it? We're gonna go to Doug for his initial thoughts on it. This guy has tons to say about it. I'll get into it.
Oh, I thought we were starting over.
No, we're rolling with it. This is all included.
I was in the middle of drinking, and yeah, that's what I thought. Right.
All right. What are they? So RGB lighting kit essentially is little LED lights in a strip that light up different colors. And what most people don't understand is that there's different versions of RGB lighting kits, right. Meaning there's a 5-volt system, a 12-volt system. It can, the 12-volt systems they range up to 24 volts. So, depending on who you're buying from or where you're buying the kit at, it can mean a lot of different things, right? Like some systems can't marry together because one's 5, one's 12, and how their circuits ran, it's just not going to read correctly. And so it's something to think about when you're putting, whips on, rock lights, halos. Our system all syncs up. It's all built in the same harness. And it's one of those deals where, let's say if you buy the whips from us, you can then go back later and add the RGB lighting rock lights to it, the halos, the tracer bars, and all those things, and they'll still work off one harness and all sync up. And so that's something that really separates us from everybody else. But, are they worth it? That's a tough question. What's your thoughts, Doug?
Well, and that's it's changed for me in the last few months, I guess, because and we've talked about before. I'm not crying poor when I say this, for the record. But I don't. When I get a machine, it usually just kind of stays how it is. We ride it. It's dirty all the time. I don't. I'll wash it every once in a while, but and so I put a winch on it. I put different wheels and tires on it because of what we ride. Yeah. And then a roof. And that's really all I ever do to it. And so I've never been a light person for me. Now, when this last trip, we went with the kids' machines. And
West Virginia?
In West Virginia, yeah. And so for the first time, we had the same machines for our kids. Yeah. And you realize the difference that it makes having them on there. Oh, yeah. Now I think they look cool. I've never thought they didn't look neat or whatever, but just for when you get a quality light system, RGB lights, they're not the cheapest.
Correct.
And so when we had our machines out there, though, just your kids would drive by, and then my kids would drive by, and you especially when they're going away from you can barely see them. Yeah. And they got a brake light about that big on the back of their Razor. Yeah. And if you're, depending where you are, if there's somebody that could pull up behind you or something like that, I mean, there's a pretty good chance that they could get hit. Yeah.
You're right.
But the machine with your deal, they drive out, they hit the brake lights, and everything's real bright and lights up, and it's very easy to see. And then when they're coming at you, I mean, the headlights on the Razor 200s really aren't headlights. They're just kind of lights. Yeah. They don't light up in front of you real far or anything like that. And so even those RGB lights are helpful in lighting up the area around you better than those little ones right in the front. So I feel like now, it's worth having a system on there like that all integrates together. If nothing else, from a safety standpoint. Now the kids love it. Yeah, there's no question about that.
So from a parent standpoint, thinking about the kids, you like it because of the safety aspects of it.
Yeah, Yep. So that's how I feel about it right now. And like I said, we always had different machines. I never really put a whole lot of thought into it. And then, on that trip in West Virginia, I was like, holy crap. Like
you can actually see it.
You can see it. Yeah. So.
And I would probably build off of that. We have about a mile and a half of trail behind our property. And then behind that, there's another, 10, 15 miles. But it's all like hill terrain. And it all cut by a dozer type of deal. But, us driving in those tight trails, to me, gives me peace of mind that I can clearly see every kid behind me. And you got to think about when we go out, it's 2 Razor 200s. It's a Outlaw 110 stretched out. And so, I got to kind of keep track. And when it's pitch black dark, thick in the woods, that's not an easy task when they don't have RGB lights on them. So I know we're talking about just on youth machines right now, but what I really like them on the adult machines is the fact that your kids can see your machine clearly and see exactly how far you are in front of you, those types of things. And now for our adult machines, because they have the bigger batteries, another huge safety factor is when you press it, depending if you get the blinker can't add it to your harness, when you press the brake, your whips will light up red, showing that you're braking. So then your kid knows to slow down. So if you're going fast, they'll see the whips light up, super bright, brighter than the tail lights, and they'll know when to slow down. So not all whips are like that. Ours are specials because of how we design them. And also has the blinkers integrated into it that you can actually tie into your dash clusters on Polaris Razors and Generals and Rangers. And so, I think that's a unique feature of ours that integrates with the halos, the rock lights, the whips, tracer bars. You name it, we could build it. And so, and what this podcast is about is not just to promote our RGB lighting kit. This is just in general. Yeah. Are they worth getting? When he first called me about his, I told him, hey, it's better to have something than nothing. Yeah. And so, RGB lighting kit compared to a billet front diff is cheaper. Compared, whips compared to a belt, for what you get, reasonable. You know what I'm saying? And so, even a roof. I think a roof costs $200 for the Razor 200. Right. And so it's one of those things. I think you get not only intrinsic value of, your kids excited about their stuff lit up, but I think, you get some extra value of just, having a safer functionality of when you're riding.
And even too, there's been unfortunately several times where we've had stuff happen on the trail at night, and having those lights.
Not intentionally.
But you can light them up and you can see much better around your machine when you couldn't, on my machine. Yeah. If you're not standing in front of it,
you can't see.
There's nothing. Yeah, you don't know. There could be a bear behind your machine. You have no idea. And so but you've actually done that where you all lit them up, I guess, white, and it lights up the whole area. Yeah. You can see all the way around you, and it's really convenient. So that part alone, and when I said that it's not cheap to get a quality system, there's pretty much nothing on these machines that you could do that are cheap.
No, you're going to spend, $150 for a belt. It just gets expensive. But in correlation to what you get for how much you could get compared to, drive shafts, axles.
There's a lot of value in having a RGB.
Correct. And it can be used for many different things. Like on our Ranger, we just did educational video. The benefits of RGB lights for hunters. So we'll link that below if you want to go watch it. But, it can be used for all sorts of people. And for hunters, it's the fact that you can turn everything to red. And, on my Ranger, we use it for hunting. And we have a big double row light bar that only shoots red. But the problem has always been my rear lights in my bed are white. So I still got to turn on white lights when I get to the, close to the stand and get my equipment out. But now I just turn my whips to red and I can lights up everything. Super clear. And in that video I'll link, you can see, part of the video we show that. It's super bright at night, and you can see all around the machine easily. And so there's just so many different functionalities outside of just cool light patterns on a machine.
And that's how I always viewed it, was just, hey, look at me, look how cool my lights are. And,
Yeah.
and no, like they are cool. Like I said, I always thought it was neat, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing more of that. Okay, this is worth it. So.
And for us, like, we haven't done it yet. I think we'll do it on the next ride. Is changing the kids to all one color pattern, where then I can separate them at night
You
too.
know which one's in front. Yeah.
Exactly. And so when someone stops or pulls over, I know exactly which kid it is, and be able to coach them up in whatever's wrong.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge benefit too. So if you have any questions about RGB lighting, drop a comment below. We'll definitely respond to every comment that we see. And we're not bashing any other RGB lighting kit out there, and we're not competing with anybody. For us, we're in an arena all in ourselves, because how every harness is custom built to specs of what the customer is ordering. When you order, we then custom build that harness, and we have the ability to add on to it down the road. So this is not a one size fits all type of product. And we take pride in that, because now, we're more customer service based. When you're looking for someone trying to figure out, I want this unique thing that I can't get anywhere else, boom, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
We put in Rowdy, in the breather ports, we have lights. That's not a kit you can buy online, right? Like, had 4 extra. I'm like, oh, let's see how they would look in here. And it looks cool. It looks cool to me. If I don't install my whips, I still got lights on the back end. So that's just one idea. We got grill lights that we have, all sorts of things. So
Tracer bar, all kinds of stuff.
yeah. But if you have any questions, make sure you drop them below. We appreciate you watching another episode of the Trail Kings podcast. But until next time, stay safe on the trail.